from San Jose, California, in the heart of Silicon Valley, it's theCUBE, covering QuickBooks Connect 2016, sponsored by Intuit QuickBooks. Now, here are your hosts, Jeff Frick and John Walls.
Welcome back here on theCUBE at QuickBooks Connects 2016. We're in San Jose and bringing you coverage throughout these next couple of days about this really vibrant entrepreneurial spirit that's alive here and that QuickBooks is really making happen, enabling on a global basis. Along with Jeff Frick, I'm John Walls, and we're joined here on the main stage here in a pretty exciting convention center with René Lacerte, the CEO and founder of Bill.com. And René, thanks for joining us here on theCUBE. Good to see you, sir.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. The energy, like you just said, is just so powerful right now. I mean, the accountants, the small businesses, the folks at Intuit, all the apps that are here, everybody just wants to go help make business a little bit easier. And it's just kind of fun to feel that energy.
All right, so we have CUBE viewers right now saying, okay, Bill.com, what do they do? So a business, payments business that you started some 10 years ago. Tell us a little bit more about your core functions, what you do, and then pivot to the relationship that you have with Intuit and QuickBooks.
That sounds great. So the simplest way to describe it is that we dramatically simplify how businesses pay their bills and get paid by their customers. So I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. Dad had 5 businesses, granddad had 7. Always heard that cash was king, stretch out the payables. When I started my first company, the day-to-day was hard. And I was trying to figure out which bills I would not pay. And what I found was lacking was the ability to kind of track all of my documents, all of my payments, all of the interactions with my employees. All of that was lacking in the ability to kind of track it from anywhere. So I always had to go back to the office. And so what we do at Bill.com is we give customers the ability to store all their bills, to route those bills for approval, make those payments electronically, track those payments, be able to interact with your vendors, and we do the same thing on the receivable side. So our customers have the ability to kind of have their back office in their back pocket, is the way I like to talk about it. So I can be anywhere. I can be in a taxi cab in New York City, I can pull up a customer, I can pull up a vendor, I can look at the source contract, I can make a payment, I can ask for a payment. All of that I can do from my phone, and it integrates seamlessly with the accounting package QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Desktop.
And so now about the relationship then, I mean, what was the genesis of that, and where are you today? You've had some news that you've made here recently.
Yeah, so I used to work out Intuit in the mid-90s, and so I've known a lot of the folks at Intuit. When they started their app platform, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, we were one of the first apps to kind of go onto the platform. And so we've always had a very strong developer relationship between the two companies, just helping us develop integrations into what our customers use for their accounting solution and helping them understand how to extend their platform. And so when they kind of started looking at this in the last year, they started thinking there are some pretty interesting things that they wanted to build into the core QuickBooks Online platform. And those things would be basically UI and workflow integrations inside of the platform for their their app partners. And so what we've done is, what we're in the process of doing is taking all of the workflow, all of the automation that we've built in Bill.com, and we're embedding that inside of QuickBooks Online. So QuickBooks Online has 1.1 million US customers today, growing to 2.2 I think over the next year. All of those customers are going to have the ability to be able to get in there and automate the entire payables process. All the source documents and the bills would be automatically routed into QuickBooks Online. No more filing cabinet, no more desks that you're chained to. All that paper just gets routed and tracked in QuickBooks Online through Bill.com. The ability to then ask other employees to approve those bills, interact with those employees and say, hey, why is the bill this much? Could it be less? All that interaction is going to happen again inside of QuickBooks Online through Bill.com. And finally, when you go to make that payment's going to happen online. We have over 1 million members in our network that use us to pay and get paid. So that number is growing, doubling every year. So the ability for our customers, through QuickBooks Online to now extend and pay all their vendors electronically is a real possibility and something we're excited about.
So it's really a deep integration, because one of the problem now, we all have so many SaaS applications that we work with every day, and notifications are coming from Eventbrite and email and Slack and text and Salesforce. It gets bananas. But what you're talking about is really a deep integration in that they stay within the QuickBooks environment online, but you're really executing the Bill.com functionality inside that. Or did I understand you right?
Yeah, that's exactly it, and I think that's part of the power. I mean, we and I think the other partner they've announced is T-Sheets, but the first two apps to be embedded from a UI and a workflow perspective. So if you think about it, the way apps in the past have kind of integrated is just through kind of sharing data. And now they're saying, well, let's share that user experience and that workflow so it becomes more powerful, more known to the customer, something they can actually maybe trust a little bit sooner, brand they may already know and stuff like that. And so that's part of the power, is actually integrating seamlessly inside of the application. Same way we do it with banks. So we have 3 of the top 10 banks that we're partnered with, and again, we're integrated seamlessly inside of their apps so that they have the ability to kind of go in there, and their customers have the ability to kind of have all of their AP and AR integrated into one place.
So you're working on, the problem was getting my money faster and hanging on to my money longer.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
To boil it down. Can you show what's the metric for measurement there in terms of the effectiveness that you've provided a real solution to that problem?
Yeah, so the core thing on the payable side, the simplifying the bill payment process, our customers consistently tell us, when we survey them, we get an exact number, right? Something like 58%, but they consistently tell us somewhere between 50 and 75% of the time it takes to process those payments, gone. That's just time back in their life, money in their back pocket, an opportunity for them to go do something very different with that time, and think ultimately more strategically about their business, which is what our customers tell us that they do. When you have the insight, the reason I kind of started the company was when Dad and Granddad would sit at the dinner table talking about, you got to stretch out the cash. Which vendors are we not going to pay today because we're waiting for this customer over here to pay us? Right. Which ones are we going to stretch out? When you make that decision, there's a lot of content that the business owner is actually using to make that decision. They're, in the old day, before you had everything, you might have gone and looked at your filing cabinet, but it might be the last time you had a golf game with them, or maybe you're going to see them for dinner tomorrow night, or whatever it is. All that content is information that's necessary for you to decide who you're not going to pay. And when you have all that information in one place, you can make those decisions faster, be more strategic about it, look overall across the business, and have the ability to see how can I actually be more efficient and have a better run business. And so that time savings of 50 to 75%, huge. 10% of payments today for businesses are made online. You look at when I was working out Intuit, 70 billion checks a year were written back then. That's now 21 billion checks a year are written. 50 billion checks roughly have come out of the system. All of those are consumer. Of the 21 billion, 19 billion involve businesses, either B2B, B2C, or C2B. So businesses are still using paper to actually track and do everything they do. And so if we can automate all that and give people time back, that's huge. On the AR side, our customers say that they get paid 2 times, 3 times faster. The ability to kind of track all those invoices automatically, have the payments flow automatically, all of that stuff's really important.
So where do you go next? Is it a better integration of kind of that softer data, or those influencer data that helps the decision maker decide whether I'm paying bill 1 or bill 2? Is it more integration points? What's kind of your roadmap as you look forward?
Well, the first thing that, when we think about the problem that we're solving today, I think, the number that I think Brad mentioned in the keynote, or Sasan mentioned in the keynote, was something like 30 million bills, a year go through Intuit. Something like $1.4 trillion a year goes through the QBO economy. And when we look at our payments, we do roughly 1 million payments a month and over $30 billion a year. So tremendous growth opportunities to kind of just focus on that first. So whenever I'm asked where do I go next, it's always like, we just need to go help more businesses do what we're doing.
Right.
When I can bump into people at a party and they can tell me, oh, I just got paid by Bill.com, or I just got invoiced by Bill.com, or I use Bill.com, any of those 3 things, and they can say how much time it saves them, that's the energy and the motivation and the passion that fuels everybody in the company, because we know that everybody is still using filing cabinets. It is,
right.
When people ask me what's the competition, it's always the pencil and paper. It's what Scott used to say when I was at Intuit. It's always the opportunity to kind of just automate what people are already doing today. So that's the first thing. There's lots of opportunity when we get through all the customer acquisition to do more.
It's funny, I remember when B of A first introduced, you could log onto
Yep.
your account and pay a bill. They would even tell you, oh, by the way, we're just going to cut a check.
Right.
All you were doing was kind of remote check generation.
Yep.
There was nothing really electronic behind the wall.
Well, and that's what's one of the things that, one of the ahas for me was that you have to build a bridge. Technology just doesn't come in and make something happen immediately. There's always a bridge, and that's a bridge, right? And so, well, we actually print checks too. When our customers start, 95% of their payments are made via check in the first month. By month 6, we get them up to 50%. A year later, they're up to 70%, or electronic.
Up or down?
Electronic.
Yeah,
electronic,
up
right?
electronic,
it goes
down
very,
on text,
very
right.
fast, right? And the way we do that is we easily email, or we give every customer the opportunity to just add the email address of the vendor or the customer. Emails go out, people come in, they want to connect and collaborate electronically. And so that bridge, though, was important. We have the ability for customers to fax their documents in. Nobody here is talking about faxing anymore,
Right,
but yet
right.
we still have probably 25 to 30% of all the documents we receive every month, and it's millions of documents that come into the repository, come in via fax.
25 to 30%
Yeah.
still come in fax.
Yeah, it's just easy. I have a
Wow.
fax machine, just drop it in here, right? So
Can
you
we
have
meet
to-
those
I
folks?
was going
by
to
the
say,
way?
where are you buying toner for those machines?
Well, and
Hopefully you're
so that's
converting them to
you
PDF.
need to have a bridge, right?
Yeah,
That's one
yeah.
of the key things I think about
That's a good
starting a company. You have to, you always have this vision about where you want to get to, but you have to actually have bridges to get there. People can't just jump and follow you immediately. You have to have the bridge.
Well, the thing that I think is really exciting about your space is that is about this constant evolution. And if you don't, then
Yeah.
someone else is going to overrun you. And obviously, Bill.com, you've done a great job of that
Thank you.
in adapting with the times and continuing to evolve. So congratulations on that with your continuing partnership. And
Thank
thank
you.
you for joining us here on theCUBE. We appreciate
We're
it.
happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Renee.
Okay.
Back
take
with
care.
more here from QuickBooks Connect 2016 on theCUBE in San Jose in just a bit.